Praise the Lord. Hallelujah. This is the day the Lord has made. We shall rejoice and be glad in it. Pastor Joseph, Osama Doc Duke, and yet more lies in our textbooks. Is there any truth in them?
No, I don't think so.
Not about Islam, at least.
No.
We got a lot to cover once again. Our topic today, lies about Muslims' relationship with the people of the book, Ahl al-Kitab, which is, of course, the Jews and the Christians. Brother Osama, take it away.
Well, the Muslims in America, they know how to deceive the Western by telling them, oh, the Quran speaks very highly of the people of the book, the Jews and the Christian. We love the Christian, we love the Jew, we believe in Jesus, and we believe in Moses, and we all worship the same God, the God of Abraham and Isaac and Jacob. But I'm shocked that I could not find any verse in the Quran where Allah tells the Muslims to love the people of the book, the Jews and the Christian, or to respect the people of the book, the Jews and the Christian, but actually Allah is commanding the Muslim to kill the people of the book, the Jews and the Christian. First, let's look at the lies in the textbooks, and then we will answer by reading the Quran to learn the truth about the people of the book.
World History, Pearson Prentice Hall, 2007, page 306. Muslims consider Jews and Christians to be people of the book, spiritually superior to polytheistic idol worshippers. Although there have been exceptions, the people of the book have historically enjoyed religious freedom in many Muslim societies.
Like where? Here's my question to these liars who are going to burn in hell forever, according to Revelation 21:8. Where in the Muslim world, in the last 1430 some years, where we can see one Christian group have enjoyed freedom?
Oh, in Spain, don't you remember? I mean, it was a wonderful place for the unbelievers, right?
That's what, in Spain, there is more killing to Christians in Spain than anywhere else on planet Earth.
Really?
But that's how we rewrite the history today in America.
Yeah.
If you count the number of battles the Muslim led in Spain, it is literally 3-4 times more than the battle of the Christian all over the rest of the earth.
But once they killed everybody, there was peace.
Yeah, very, very loving, very peaceful. Okay. So here's the first lie. Let's move on to another textbooks to learn about the people of the book.
World History, McGraw-Hill, Glencoe, 2008, pages 192, 193. In the conquered territories, Arab administrators were tolerant, sometimes even allowing local officials to continue to govern. Both Christians and Jews were allowed to practice their religion because they were the people of the book, those who had written scriptures revealed by God before Muhammad. Those who chose not to convert were required to be loyal to Muslim rule and pay taxes.
So if you convert, you're a Muslim, you're good. If not, you're going to pay taxes. And we're going to read the words of the language of the Quran. How they were given these taxes? Like we Americans send it by our choice, or there's another style Allah uses in the Quran. But Christians and Jews never felt and lived as this textbook described it to us. You can imagine you go to a Christian country and you kill the men, and then you allowed some men to continue to be the president or to hold some important job. Yeah. Of course, this did not happen. I remember one time I was speaking in one of the colleges in America, and the student came to me, a Muslim, and said, "You are a liar, sir. You're wrong, sir." He said, Putros Ghali. Yeah. He's a Christian Egyptian, and he have a very high position. I said, yeah, he's the bossman of Egypt to go to America and to go to Europe to bring money to Egypt. And I said, do you know anybody else in Egypt, a Christian in Egypt, who have a high position in our government? Yeah. He could not come up with another name. No. So we know how to, with the deception of Islam, we know how to put some Christian people in some important position just to tell the world, here, look, Putros Ghali from Egypt. He's now in the United Nations. He's presented to the No, this is propaganda, cover up that we make Muslim, make Islam look good in the foreign world. But in reality, this has never happened in the Christian world, where Muslim came, attack us, kill our people, and left some of us to rule the countries. That is a joke. This is lies. Need to be removed out of our textbooks. Let's move on to another textbooks on lies about the people of the book.
World Cultures, a Global Mosaic, Pearson, Prentice Hall, 2004, page 572. The Muslims were tolerant conquerors. They did not force people of the book to convert to Islam. Jews and Christians were free to worship as they pleased.
How do you like that?
They could ring their bells.
Pastor Joseph, maybe my English is not good. What does the word conquerors mean to you in English?
Yeah, usually it means you take them over. You
so,
take over people.
So how can I be a conqueror to you and I give you freedom? What?
And
do Muslim, here's my question to you. Do Muslims have freedom in Islam to worship as you wish?
No.
How in the world do you expect me to believe that if the Muslim does not have freedom to worship as he wish, he have to be Muslim, he have to follow the Islam of his parents and grandparents all the way to Muhammad? How in the world do you expect me to believe that Christians and Jews, the people of the book, were free to worship however they wish? We're going to see in a few minutes the Pact of Omar and how Christian and Jew were worshiping in the Christian countries, which was taken by the hands of the Muslim. All right, one more lie from another textbook.
World History, Patterns of Interaction, McDougall Little, 2007, page 270. Muslims allowed conquered peoples to follow their own religion. Tolerance continued after the Muslim state was established.
Once again, where and when? I mean, is it so hard for Muslims who wrote this propaganda hogwash Islam to our students to give us a verse in the Quran, a statement of Muhammad in the Hadith, perhaps a name of a country with a date between this year and that year? Christian and Jew were free, the people of the book whom we love, and this president was a Christian or this leader was a Christian. Where do we find this in the history, Pastor Joseph? Where do we find this in reality? Not in the Quran or in life. Lord, help me, help us. Let's go to some of the verses in the Quran. We're going to see what Allah said in the Quran about the people of the book. Not what Muslims in America are teaching our children about the people of the book, but what Allah said about the people of the book. In chapter 9, verse 5, we read,
So when the forbidden months are past, so kill the polytheists wherever you find them, and take them as captives, and besiege them, and lay wait for them with every kind of ambush. So if they repent and perform the prayer, and bring the legal alms, so leave their way free. Surely Allah is forgiving, merciful.
We only have three choices here, Pastor Joseph. Not four, three. Number one, to be killed. Number two, our women and our children to be taken as captives and slaves. Number three is to repent. That's to convert Islam. Where is the tolerance of Islam?
Oh, and of course the Muslims will say, well, you know, this was just the polytheists of the time, just the Quraysh tribes. This doesn't talk about the Christians and Jews. They get a buy and all this kind of stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Well, let's move on to another verse in the Quran, the people of the book, 9:29. That's
You mean we get a special verse?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
The people of the book. It's just for you and me.
Oh, this is the loving verse.
I mean, amen.
Engage in war with those who do not believe in Allah and in the last day, and do not forbid what Allah and His Messenger forbid, and do not believe in the religion of truth, that is Islam, among those who have been given the book, Jews and Christians, until they pay the jizya, tribute, out of hand, and they are subdued.
Do you know what subdued is?
Actually, it's sagherun, belittled,
Sagherun,
made small,
belittled,
humiliated.
Made fun, humiliated.
Yeah.
Literally, if you read the description of how Muslim scholars tell us how the Christian used to give the jizya to the Muslims, Muslim will not reach his hand like that, because when you reach like hand gladly, you'll be like a beggar. So Muslim will go their hand like that. Wait a minute. How is they going to get the money in their hand if it's like that? It's very simple. Christian will kneel before the Muslim and put his hand up like that. That is to raise up the jizya, and the Muslim will take it from the top like that. So Muslims were literally making Christians subdued, kneeling before the Muslim, and it's like, please don't kill me. Here's the money. Please don't kill me. And I know some Muslims will say, it's a little bit money. I remember arguing with one of my teachers in Egypt. He said, a little bit money. I said, your Allah is a cheap God, because my life is worth $1. The less money I give, the meaning of it, that Christians and Jews, the people of the book, have no value. We're going to kill you if you don't give us a jizya. How much is the jizya? Oh, 10 cents. You mean my life, my wife's life, my children's life is worth 10 cents, you idiot? I'd rather to have it $1 million, because then now I know I have a value of $1 million. But Muslim cannot see it, Pastor Joseph. They think, well, it's a little money. You mean literally every people of the book, every one of the Jews and the Christian, value is little money, $1? Shame on you and your Allah.
And the Quran doesn't specify, so these Muslim conquerors could do whatever they wanted, right?
The history, Pastor Joseph, is filled with thorough pages where you read that they take our homes, they took our land, they took our animals, they took everything because they keep charging us more. If I know you can give me $1, I'm going to ask for 2.
Yeah, it doesn't say how much it is in the Quran, so they
Absolutely.
could always raise
There
it.
were some wicked Khalifas and wicked leaders of the Muslim world. They just charge whatever they want.
Sure.
They can take whatever. As more they can take, the more they are actually subdue us
Yeah.
to make us humiliated, and we have no option but to accept Islam.
Sure.
All right. A
Tolerance.
few comments here.
Christians and Jews have been subjected to increasing violence by Muslims in Muslim countries.
Next.
Christians and Jews are permitted very few of the rights and freedoms that a Muslim majority is allowed.
And that's the reality. America, this is what we need to teach about the people of the book. For heaven's sake, if you don't want to teach it because it's the truth of the history of the past, will you please teach it because of what's happening today? Are you watching the news? Or are you busy just watching football and watching some trash on in the internet? Are you following what's happening to the people of the book, Christians and Jews, worldwide by the Muslims? Why in the world we allowed Muslims to belittle our intelligence and teach this propaganda Islam to our children to make us believe the respect for the people of the book? If there was never respect in the people of the books, not in the Quran, not in the history of the past, not even today. Shame on us to allow this trash to be taught our children. Shame on the church to allow this propaganda to be put into the heart and the mind and the soul of our own children by our tax money in our public schools. I want to talk about the Pact of Umar.
Okay?
And in America, Pastor Joseph, Muslim will tell us that the Pact of Umar was the best thing ever happened
Oh, yeah.
to the Jews and the Christian.
Right.
And that's fit with the propaganda of the people of the book.
Yes.
That Omar treated the Jews and the Christian special.
Yes.
And this, and amazingly, the Muslim American, an idiot liberal minister in America who met with a liar, deceiver Muslim in America, they say, oh, Usama, we know about the Pact of Umar. I mean, you in Egypt, you're living in wonderful relationship with the Muslim, with the Pact of Umar. And I tell this foolish, ignorant preacher, have you read the Pact of Umar? Yeah. There's a Muslim talked to me about it. I have some Muslim friends who told me about it. I said, read the Pact of Umar, you idiot, before you talk about it and defend the Muslim by it.
Yes. Right.
I challenge one American to live by the Pact of Umar. If you accept it for yourself, shame on you. And that is what Muslims force on us. Let's go. Read the Pact of Umar.
The status of non-Muslims under Muslim rule from Tafsir of Ibn Kathir, Sahih Muslim, recorded from Abu Huraira, said that the Prophet said, do not initiate the salam or the peace to the Jews and Christians, and if you meet them in any of them in the road, force them into its nearest alley.
That's how Muhammad taught the Muslim how to treat the people of the book. Why can't we put this in our textbooks for next generation, for next semester for our students? Instead of Muslim have a high respect for the Christian and the Jew, we say Muhammad said, do not initiate peace with the people of the book. You want to teach truth? You want to teach history? Let's learn it from Muhammad's lips, not from the liberal American Muslims who wear suits and ties. That's not Muslims. That's not Islam. That's deception. All right? Keep going with this teaching. Here we go.
This is why the leader of the faithful, Umar bin al-Khattab, may Allah be pleased with him, demanded his well-known conditions be met by the Christians, these conditions that ensured their continued humiliation, degradation, and disgrace.
Did you hear what Omar said? He wanted to make sure from the Pact of Omar that this Christian would be what? Read it again, Pastor Joseph. What? To be what?
Continued humiliation, degradation, and disgrace.
Is this something you really want to have in America? This is what's coming to your country, Americans. All what you need to do, just keep living in silence, close your eyes, put your head in the sand, ignore that they're Muslim in America, and I promise you, what we're about to read here is going to come to your country, to your state, to your county, to your city, to your church, to your people. Here we go. Let's watch the Pact of Omar, and for the sake of time, we're going to go fast.
In the name of Allah, the merciful, this is a document to the servant of Allah, Umar, the leader of the faithful, from the Christians of such and such city. When you Muslims came to us, we requested safety for ourselves, children, property, and followers of our religion.
That's the only way you can survive. That's the only way you can live. You, your children, and your property. What we're going to do? Listen carefully. What we have wrote by our hand, according to the direction of Omar and his followers, We are willing to do that. Are you willing, America, to do that too? Here it is. First,
We made a condition on ourselves that we will neither erect in our areas a monastery, church, or a sanctuary for a monk, nor restore any place of worship that needs restoration, nor use any of them for the purpose of enmity against Muslims.
and that's what's still happening in Egypt until today. Until today, we cannot remodel a church. My own brother was a minister in Egypt for 20-some years, could not fix one bathroom downstairs. He had to get permission from the city to allow him to fix a bathroom. The bathroom exists, but it needs to be fixed. And until today, it's not fixed. And that was 20 years ago. When we build churches, my daddy was a church planter in Egypt, and every time he built a church, the government of Egypt come and close it. I know some Muslim would say, Pastor Joseph, well, there are plenty of big churches in Egypt, in Cairo and Alexandria. These are the picture, which is when Americans come to Egypt, they will take you to some churches, big churches, but majority of cities in Egypt, you cannot build a church until today. We cannot today build a church in Egypt. God have mercy.
And if your church falls down,
Kiss it goodbye. How many monasteries in Egypt have been destroyed? When I took my wife to Egypt and I showed her some of the old monasteries, they're gone. And my wife said, Usama, why is nobody fixed? I said, we can't. Yes, this old monastery go back to the years of Mark, 2,000 years ago, but we cannot fix it because the government will not allow us. Next.
we will not prevent any Muslim from resting in our churches, whether they come by day or night, and we will open the doors of our houses of worship for the wayfarer and passerby. Those Muslims who come as guests will enjoy boarding and food for 3 days.
Now we turn our churches to hotels. To who? To the Muslim. Which Muslim? The one who killed my grandpa and raping my grandma and his daughters. Can you imagine that? That's how we treated the Muslim who came to Egypt. All right. Next one.
We will not allow a spy against Muslims into our churches and homes or hide deceit or betrayal against Muslims.
Next one. I'm sorry.
We will
Go
not
ahead.
teach our children the Quran, publicize practices of shirk, invite anyone to shirk, that is to proselytize for Christianity, or prevent any of our fellows from embracing Islam if they choose to do so.
I believe, Pastor Joseph, the biggest mistakes the Muslim did in Egypt is taught us Christian in the 21st century Islam. When I read this a good 30 years ago, Pastor Joseph, I could not understand why Omar does not want us Christian Egyptian to learn the Quran. I saw Muslims teaching us that we Christian loved Islam and became Muslim when Islam came to Egypt. No. That is a lie from the bottom of hell. They do not want us Christian Egyptians, the Coptic, to learn the Quran. And I could not figure out 30 years ago why. But now I know why. Guess what? I am a voice, a speaking out voice, and there are plenty like me from Egypt. And now we are exposing Islam, and now we're destroying Islam because simply we learn the Quran. You know that 99% of the Muslims in Egypt do not know Islam. That's why they're still Muslims. And because we, the Christian of Egypt, know Islam, few of us, sadly, I can count them on 2 hands, you know, the number of people who like me, Coptic Egyptian, lots of Christians just live, minding their own business. As a matter of fact, some of them try to stop us from doing what we've been doing now for the last 15 years because they say, you're causing trouble. You expose Islam, you make Muslim mad, you make Muslim angry, they're burning our churches, they're hurting our businesses. I say, they've been doing this for the last 1,400 years. That's what the Muslims been doing in Egypt, with or without what we're doing. But the biggest problem the Muslim did in Egypt is literally for allow people like me to learn the Quran and learn Islam. And now I understand why Omar does not want anyone of the Christian Egyptian to learn the truth about Islam.
Look at this quick problem. Don't teach our children the Quran, but allow them to embrace Islam.
Yes.
So what does that tell you? That says you don't come to Islam because you think it's beautiful or the Quran makes sense.
Or because you know it. Or because you believe in it.
You come under compulsion.
And at the same time, if some Muslim, if one of our children want to leave, imagine, my son become a Muslim. And he started reading the Quran, he found this piece of trash, junk, very hate barbaric book. So my son decided to come back to Christianity. He can't do that.
They kill him.
If my son become a Muslim and he want to come out of Islam, they will kill him. That is the reality of how Islam is spread in Egypt. Move on with the next piece here
We will
from the Pact of
respect
Omar.
Muslims and move from the places we sit in if they choose to sit in them. It's like Rosa Parks in reverse. Eh?
Absolutely. Segregation,
Yeah.
Pastor Joseph.
Yeah.
If a Muslim want to sit in my chair, I stand up. Please sit in my chair. Please.
Sure.
All right. Next piece.
We will not imitate their clothing, caps, turbans, sandals, hairstyles, speech, nicknames, and title names, or ride on saddles, hang swords on our shoulders, collect weapons of any kind, or carry any weapon.
Is that beautiful?
Yeah.
The tolerance of Islam. And this has been from Omar days until today. If I go to Egypt, I promise you, I don't have to think for twice to know if the person is a Christian or a Muslim. Especially ladies. The ladies are Christian. They dress like modesty, like what we have in America here. They cover themselves well, and they shows their hair. Some maybe covers their hair from the dust, but they have a cross on their chest. But Muslims have their own clothes. And they actually did this also as to segregate us from the rest of the people. We do not wear their clothes. We do not live like they live. And that's the reality of how Christian and Jews were living in the Middle East during this time of the Pact of Omar. Next piece.
We will not encrypt our stamps in Arabic or sell liquor.
Oh, okay. I'm glad I don't have to sell liquor. Okay, here we go. Next piece.
We will have the front of our hair cut, wear our customary clothes wherever we are, wear belts around our waist, refrain from erecting crosses on the outside of our churches, and demonstrating them and our books in public in Muslim fairways and markets.
And until today, this is, and like the Brotherhood in Egypt a few years ago, they want to do that. They want to take all the churches down.
Yeah.
They want to get rid of Christianity. And until today, if you are in Egypt and in many of these Muslim countries get caught sharing the gospel with some Muslims, read the Bible out loud to some Muslim, you get arrested. This is the reality of what the Christians are going through right now in many of the Muslim countries around the world. Next.
We will not sound the bells in our churches except discreetly, or raise our voices while reciting our holy books inside our churches in the presence of Muslims, nor raise our voices with prayer at our funerals, or light torches in funeral processions in the fairways of Muslims or their markets.
Freedom. What a beautiful, Christians were free to worship however they wishes in Egypt. Is this not what the Muslim wrote in our textbooks in our public school? We're free to worship however we wish. But that's not what is written in the Pact of Omar. That's not, this is like the constitution of Egypt. This is the constitution of Syria. This is the constitution of every other Muslim country in the Middle East. There's no freedom whatsoever to worship. We have to sing literally to ourselves. And if a Muslim show up in the church because they come to use it as a hotel, we have to cancel the service. Because you cannot read the Bible or sing a song in the presence of a Muslim. So they literally can walk in any church at any time and the service is over for the next 3 days as we're going to feed the master, the Muslim, in our country. Move on.
We will not bury our dead next to Muslim dead or by servants who were captured by Muslims.
It's very important. You see, this small one here, Pastor Joseph, will shock the American people. Do you know that here in America, Muslims will not bury their Muslims in the cemetery where the Christians are? They have their own cemetery because they believe in the Pact of Omar. Not because of this one. They believe in the entire Pact of Omar. And the days come in America, and maybe I will be dead, but this video will be here for you to watch, that Usama Daktuk said the days coming and the Pact of Omar will be practiced here in America. We cannot buy the servants. What servants? What is that? You see, Muslim will come to Egypt, they kill some guy, and take his wife or his daughters to be slaves. Now I, as a Christian man, I want to buy these slaves from the hand of the Muslim. Christians are not allowed to buy their own people as slaves, but Muslim will sell them to somebody else. Don't you love the beauty of Islam? I hope and I pray this will not come to America. But you choose to live in silence. This is coming to a city near you. This will happen to your own children, your own family here in America. Another piece of the Pact of Omar we read.
We will be guides for Muslims and refrain from breaching their privacy in their homes.
We will help them to get rid of other Christian, other country. And they can look at us, they can invade our privacy, but we will not. The houses of the Egyptian have to be less high than the houses of the Muslims.
Isn't this equality and hope that
Absolutely.
Islam brought?
Yep. Absolutely. It must be. It must be. All right. And one more piece here.
When I gave this document to Umar, he added to it, we will not beat any Muslim.
Literally, you think Christian going to beat Muslims? God have
After
mercy.
all of that.
God have mercy. Last piece from the Pact of Omar. We read,
These are the conditions that we, the Christians, set against ourselves and followers of our religion in return for safety and protection. If we break any of these promises that we set for your benefit against ourselves, then our dhimma, promise of protection, is broken, and you are allowed to do with us what you are allowed of people of defiance and rebellion.
it must be love.
Yeah.
It must be peace. Literally, that's what I learned about from the Pact of Omar about the Muslim and Islam, and Lord have mercy. I literally do not know how in the world we allow Muslims in America, Pastor Joseph, to lie and teach this propaganda to our children in our public schools here about this relationship between Muslims and the people of the book, the Christian and the Jew. Lord have mercy. Now,
Ignorance and ambivalence.
yes, that's what it is. That's what it is. I'm going to move to one lie, just one lie about the Crusades to see what does the textbooks teach us about the Crusades in America.
Okay.
So it's one lie. By the way, these lies are bigger circle, Pastor Joseph.
Yeah.
If people go to our website, thestraightway.org, there's in the right corner there, the Straightway and more, and look at lies in the textbooks, 91 pages. From it, you can learn about all the lies which exist until last year, because I promise you, this year and next year, more lies and more lies. The lies will get bigger and bigger. One lie about the Crusades in our textbooks, but there are plenty more for you to go read for yourself.
World History, Pearson, Prentice Hall, 2007, page 306. At other times, jihad may be interpreted as holy war to defend Islam and the Muslim community, much like the Crusades to defend Christianity.
Can you imagine? Read this in our textbooks. Jihad in Islam, boys and girls, is just like Crusades in Christianity. The Christian Crusaders were defending Christianity, and Muslims were defending jihad, performing jihad to defend Islam. What do we learn from that? I mean, let me ask you, who's the Crusaders were killing? Some enemies of Christianity. Like who? Anybody particular? Who is the Crusaders were killing?
Hindus,
The Hindus? The Jews?
Baha'i.
The Crusaders were fighting the Muslims. The Muslims who invaded our countries. And it is sick, Pastor Joseph, because people all over America do not want to talk about the Crusades, as the truth is that crusade was the reaction of the Muslim action. It was not a dollar short and a day late. It was actually a few billions or trillions of dollars short and 400 years late.
Right, right.
As Christian in Egypt were crying out to the Christian in Europe, and the Christian in Syria and in Turkey and in Jordan crying out to the Christian in Europe, help, help, for 400 years. And instead of the European come to help us, no, they were drinking wine, eating bread. And when this started affecting Europe, in many reasons, now the Christian Europe started the Crusades. 400 years later?
Yeah.
You could not know Egypt from Adam just 100 years later, not 400 years later. Because in the first 100 years, Muslims killed in Egypt 4 million Christians. And the wives and the daughters of these Christians were taking, as we see today in Nigeria, they covered them in hijab, raped them, and today we end with 80-some% of the Muslims in Egypt are Egyptian because they are the children of rape. The Muslim Arab came to Egypt, kills the Christian men, raped the wife and the daughter, and here we are, Egypt, a Muslim country, 1,400 years later. But this started in the first 100 years. And now they're telling us that jihad in Islam, like the crusade in Christianity. What our children are going to learn from this lie in our textbooks? But quick
We're
answer.
out of time, so we'll finish up here.
Sure.
Comparing the Crusades to jihad is a totally illegitimate comparison. Jihad is a holy war often used to take over people or land not belonging to the Muslim peoples. This happened in many Christian countries and in the Holy Land, where Muslims attacked and killed to take control of all Christian lands such as Egypt, Turkey, Syria, Jordan, Jerusalem, and etc. That is jihad.
We'll keep going with the next piece, Pastor Joseph, for the sake of time.
The Crusades were political wars as a reaction to the jihad of Islam and sought to free the Holy Land from Muslim control. The Crusades were not similar to jihad. The New Testament never commands believers to fight unbelievers, but the Quran commands war and killing.
These two slides should be in every textbooks in America to replace the propaganda. So we need to get rid of the propaganda the hogwash Islam about crusades, and we pose the facts, the history to our children and our grandchildren in our public schools to learn the truth about the crusades, it was not a bad thing. As sadly, Pastor Joseph, we see in America some Christians, 365 idiot, ignorant pastor, and you can go online and see they are writing to the Muslims in America apologizing. Sorry about the crusades. You idiot minister, learn the truth about Islam. You should never, never apologize about the crusades, but you should demand an apology from every Muslim of what they have done to every Christian country in the Middle East before the crusade ever existed for 400 years.
Thank you, Brother Osama. Well presented. Thank you all for watching our program, Lies in Our Textbooks, and we'll be continuing. We have a couple more lies yet to deal with.
Four
more.
2 and 2 and live programs if the Lord's willing.
Very good. Thank you for watching the Trinity Channel, www.trinitychannel.com. We'll see you here next time. God bless you.